There's a documentary, it's on BBC Three, and you can see it now. It's been aired, you can see it on the iPlayer. And in this documentary, one man claims to have fathered over 60 children, and he hasn't told his wife. And there's a serious story behind this, and that's because so many people in this country would like to have children, and they can't for one reason and another. And the supply of donors is diminishing, and far more people need sperm to get pregnant than there are people donating it. And also, if you can't get funding for it on the National Health and you go to a private clinic, it costs thousands and thousands of pounds. So a whole business has grown up where men are advertising their services on groups like via websites like Facebook, social media like Facebook. And so not only is it not regulated, but a lot of these men aren't telling their partners, and the reasons why they're doing it, well, who knows, they could vary, but more worryingly, there are no medical checks on them either. But I must say, I was just astonished at the idea of 60 children not knowing who their father is, because if you go and do it through a clinic, you have to tell legally, you have to find out who your parents are by the time you're 18.
Yeah. And that's quite new legislation, isn't it? Because that's why the sperm donors have decreased now, because they don't want the child coming to find them.
I just couldn't cope with that. If you were his poor wife that discovers that this has been going on behind your back, I just would feel completely betrayed.
Oh. Something very... I suspect that this is not an altruistic act. There is something to me when I hear that sounds perverse. Travelling all over the country, lying to your wife, donating left, right and centre in God knows what toilet. I mean, it's just... The audience faces...
Or fast food joint. I mean, it brings a whole new meaning to a drive-through, doesn't it? Wow.
Well, some of these men say they're doing it to particularly help same-sex lesbian couples who would be charged a lot of money, thousands of pounds in a clinic, and this way it's much cheaper. But on the other hand, it's also riskier.
But then if they're doing it because, it's to help other people, which is a very nice act to do, to be fair, and there are a lot of desperate people out there. The bit that gets me is the keeping it... I mean, he's kept it secret for 15 years from his wife. If he thinks it's a great thing to do, why is he keeping it secret? Why not, you know, at least discuss it with his wife?
I bet some of these men do discuss it with other men down the pub or something, because I think there's something slightly weird about someone that's fathered 60 children, because it must give you a sense of power as well.
Can you imagine the ego of it? I've spread my seed.
Yeah.
There are children all over the country.
Yeah,
there's something so perverse about the whole idea of it.
Yeah, she said, like, those 60 children are going to grow up at some stage and potentially want to know how they came about and who their father is. I don't know how you deal with that situation.
But I think that's something that in the future is going to be difficult anyway, because, you know, with all the egg donation and sperm donation, there is going to be families that you're never going to be able to trace who your family are.
Completely right, Colleen, because the whole idea, the old idea of mum, dad and a couple of kids has gone way out of the window. Yeah. And with gay marriage and same-sex marriage, the whole idea of a family has become a kind of... we are travelling, we are on a journey, to use a real cliche. And now I'm never going to say that children born or brought up in the same-sex household are any less happy. They've got every chance of having a brilliant, brilliant life. But how they are brought into that family is still, this programme shows, an area which does need a little bit of looking at, because often people are using donors, they don't know anything about their background, or they might have that child carried by a surrogate and they don't know the background of the
health aspect of it.
That must be why. They have changed the legislation now so that people can find out at 18. And like you say, that the problem with doing it this way is you don't know who you're doing with it. Yeah. You don't know
their medical history.
It's got to be done properly. It's got to be done properly.
But I don't see how you can stop it. If thousands, you know, and I think when Colleen says this man's wife, you know, she doesn't know the life he's leading. I expect all over the country there are hundreds more men like that, because they can make money out of it.
Well, exactly. If that is the case, and can you then, on the flip side of that, imagine it if you are the wife and you do know what is going on and it's a little bit of extra income coming in, could you deal with that?
Oh, no.
I don't think I could.
Mind you, I say that.
See, I think I
say that,
could.
but what if I'm really struggling to put food on the table for my kids
Yeah.
and I can't make my bills? Maybe I would agree with it.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's the reason why some women decide to carry children for other people,
Yeah.
because it's for financial reasons,
Yeah.
and they are happy
Yeah.
to give that child away at the end of the pregnancy.